What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Slate. It is the sports edition here on a Thursday. That means we will get to whatever we feel like getting to. No, not the Marvel MCU collection that we were doing just prior to the show. We'll actually talk sports, unless you think Marvel is sports, and I could make an argument, but I won't right now. I'm Adam Kaufman. This is Jeff Ulrich. Typically, we have Reed T. Fowler in that slot. He's off on assignment right now, Moose, and fittingly over at the Rocket Mortgage tournament going on because, wouldn't you know, right after a win, his guy, Tony Finau, you just can't stop him, no matter how hard you try. Finau and Taylor Pendrith right now are tied atop the leaderboard, one round in here to the Rocket Mortgage, and I'm not even sure. You could tell me. I'd have to scan the leaderboard. Yeah, no, I'm looking at it. We're not completely done with round one, but toward the top, most people are obviously in the clubhouse at this point. What has stood out to you most?
Yeah, no, deep into round one. I talked about this yesterday on a show that there was a good chance we'd see a pretty big, a decent wave split, that the AM guys were going to have a chance. And right now we have exactly one player from the PM wave at 5 under. And there's just a whole ton of guys from the AM wave at 6 under or better, or 5 under or better, excuse me. So right now, pretty big AM PM, advantage for the AM starters. Actually, there's more than one. There's 3 guys, because a couple guys already finished from the PM wave. So it's not that good news, but there's nobody from the PM wave that's hit 6 under or better. Let's put it that way. There's sure. 6 guys that went out in the morning, shot 6 under or better, Pendrith and Finau. I said, could this be the start of the summer of Tony Finau, where he rips off 2, maybe 3 wins? And, it's basically the exact same setup as last week. It's an easier course with par 5s you can beat up on, a weaker field. And lo and behold, Tony Finau's just hey, yeah, I can shoot 64 every day on these courses. So, this one, I'm not declaring it over or anything, but Finau could certainly run the table here for a second week. Wouldn't shock me.
Is the AM PM going to be a thing that divide, tomorrow round 2 and into the weekend, or is that just something that you were really looking at for today?
It was mainly today, although admittedly, I haven't checked the updated weather on Friday. It does look like we're going to get some afternoon wind, perhaps not to the extent that we got today, but the one thing that we've noticed about this course, especially last year, and I think this year it applies too, is that this course does firm up. There's been no rain or anything. There's hot weather, and it's a straightforward course. But I don't think you're necessarily going to see Finau shot 8 under, so you could see 25 under, but it just the afternoon, this course is going to dry up a bit, and it's just going to be tougher if there's even just a little bit more wind. So yeah, I think you will see a wave advantage tomorrow. I'm just not sure if it's going to be quite to the extent that we saw today. I think today was really the day to get on the AM guys. But again, if you're playing Showdown tomorrow, or maybe you're in some kind of matchup bet that has an AM PM guy, I don't even know if they'll do that. But if there is that opportunity for whatever you're playing, maybe you're on a prop site, the AM guys will have better conditions. Again, this course it's dry. It's just going to get firmer as the afternoon goes on, and there's more wind in the afternoon. So definitely play that to your advantage.
So why have you been in on Finau in recent weeks? Why has this been the time, albeit, better courses and softer competition, I recognize, but is it as simple as that, or is there something you've seen about his performances in recent majors and just the momentum that has been building to where we are?
He's just been playing better, right? You could see the confidence around the greens coming around at the Canadian Open. He went toe to toe with Rory. I think anytime you can do that, you get some confidence. He grinded back a made cut at the Open Championship, which was big. So the tee to green game has kind of been there, but it's the other parts of his game are starting to come together. And when you get Tony Finau confident with the putter and around the green, he's going to challenge. Yeah, he hasn't won during his career at the rate that he should have, but this is a player now who's won twice it's actually less than a year, twice in the last 10 months. So clearly, when his A game is there now, he can go low, he can do this stuff. And so it's just been a conglomeration of seeing him get confident with the putter and get confident around the greens again. And then the ball striking was already starting to come around. So no, I'm not shocked. I think he's a player who can walk into these weak fields. And again, he really should have 3 or 4 other wins in events like this already. We see him top 5 in these events the last 5 years, 3 times a year, 4 times a year. And it's dude, why aren't you winning these? And maybe now it's just finally the wins are just going to start to flow. That's kind of what it feels like. So I don't know. It's the first round. Like he's got to go in the afternoon tomorrow. There's Cantlay's in there, some guys at 5, but like, yeah, would it shock me if he just ran the table here? Absolutely not.
So that I'm glad you brought all that up, because that's where I wanted to go next. All of that being said, the woulda, coulda, shouldas for Tony Finau in so many tournaments over the last year or so. Do you look at this and it's not even like he's running away? He's tied for first, but obviously, it's better to be at the top than to be, 3, 4, 5 strokes off the lead. So he's right there, clearly, with a long way to go. Are you sort of just waiting for the drop off? This is me asking you to talk out of both sides of your mouth now. Yeah. Are you just waiting for the Tony Finau, like, well, almost, and then he finishes second or third?
Oh yeah, I mean, look, it's not even talking out of both sides of the mouth. It's like, it's just being realistic. Like, yeah, Tony Finau could win this event, but at the same time, as a bettor, like, look, guys don't go wire to wire on the PGA very often. You should be fading first round leaders. It doesn't really matter who they are. You should be looking down the board and saying, okay, great, it's Tony Finau leading. He actually doesn't win that much, and because he's a good player, like the odds on the other players now are going to be a little bit juicier. So yeah, we should be looking down the board. As I mentioned, there could be an AM PM wave split. Let's look at these guys who are already finished and going out early tomorrow. We got, Kurt Kitayama, a guy who I kind of liked. I kind of liked this week. He's at plus 4,000 on the DraftKings Sportsbook. Look, Kurt Kitayama has 2 top 5s on the season already. He was second like 2 starts ago in Scotland. He played well over at the Honda Classic, a tough course. Like, this guy can play. He's going to go out early. He could absolutely come up and shoot. As I say this, the odds on Kurt Kitayama go from plus 4,000 to plus 3,500.
Like that,
so
yeah.
Maybe someone's watching. I don't know. But, my point is, like, he could come out and shoot 8 under tomorrow. He could come out and shoot 6 under and get himself really in the mix. And Finau could shoot 3 under, right? So, yeah, I think there's opportunity. Like, that's definitely a guy I'm looking at is Kitayama. David Lipsky's played well. Both of those guys at 5 under going out early. We like that. But, this guy's still on the course too. Like, Chris Kirk is, I think he's at 2 under right now. And it sounds, he might have bogeyed. So maybe we'll have to write him off. But, no, he's at 2 under. If he could get in at like 4 under and you're getting decent odds on Chris Kirk and you don't have him on the card, I mean, his irons look fine today. Like, he just hasn't sucked that many putts. He's hitting fairways like he always does. He could go out and shoot 9 under tomorrow morning. So I don't mind going far back. I think you can go, to look to the even 2 or 3 under guys who finish. Just make sure that if you're doing that, I think the best strategy is probably to go with the morning guys tomorrow, because again, that's probably where the low rounds are going to come from.
Odds are, for people that are watching, I don't know if we have it up on the screen as we're talking, we do. So, odds are moving all over the place, obviously, some more drastic than others, but, you shouted out a couple of names, guys, that you like right now, but as, are you trying to basically beat the odds makers or beat the sports book on anything? And what I mean by that is, are you looking at it and all the fluctuation, those bright lights and guys moving up and down, odds changing like crazy? Are you trying to lock something in right now versus sort of letting it settle a little bit going into round 2?
No, I mean, I think that since the round's almost done, again, we may have even missed the window. Like, there were some pretty juicy odds out there. I know, like Steven Yager, who's at 5 under, the guy I like, was at plus 9,000. Now he's at plus 8,000. I still don't mind that, because I mean, look, he's only 3 shots back. It's the guy who can go super low at any point. But there's still time. Like I said, David Lipsky is another player I have interest in. He's at plus 6,000. I don't think that'll change too much. So I think, again, when there's a leader like Finau, because he's such an elite player, there's a better chance that he ends up closing out the tournament, but it also creates more opportunity down the board. So no, you can certainly, I don't think you need to wait. Like, there's nothing drastic that's going to change. There's nobody out there, Charlie Hoffman, even if Charlie Hoffman somehow finished at 6 under, it's not really going to change anything. Charlie Hoffman's been kind of like out of form anyways. So just one hot round isn't going to change odds. You can jump on it now. I think if anything, you'll see some of these guys who are kind of drifting around plus 9,000, plus 6,000. Like, you may even see Lipsky's odds go down. So now is probably the time to jump on like a Kitayama if you have interest, or anyone up there. Maybe Cameron Champ, who went out early and shot 5 under. He's a plus 1,600 too. He's been a win a year player. So, even his odds, I mean, you could consider. Although, actually, if I was betting on a PM guy, I would probably wait until midday tomorrow, because there's a chance someone goes low and then their odds inflate. So really taking a hard look at the AM guys is kind of where it's at for live betting right now.
if you're looking at Finau and the plus 330 to win outright, but obviously he's the favorite. He's the favorite pretty comfortably. It's not like it's a great number to lock him in at when a guy is in front. But if you're looking at top 5, top 10, because you just feel like, well, it's going to be another one of those close but no cigar. He's going to fall short, but he's going to be right there in the conversation at the end. Do either of those numbers appeal to you, or is it still just, hey, they're minus numbers? It's just not worth it.
Yeah, I'll say this, like the top 10 at minus 275, it kind of feels like it's almost bettable,
like
but
draft, right?
Is he going to finish outside the top 10? I guess he could pull out a 73 or something, but it seems pretty unlikely with the way he's playing. I'm not going to recommend any of those numbers. It does. I think Finau, like I said, is very locked in, but at the same time, we're playing a sport in golf where, oh man, like the putts just don't fall maybe in the final round. And all of a sudden Finau goes from being T3 to like T11. And you're like, my God, like, I can't believe this. So, Finau's probably going to finish in the top 10, but no, nothing I really want to lock in on him. I think if I was looking to do a bet with someone down the board on that, that's actually an interesting question. Who would we kind of lock in for like a top 10 perhaps? That's a tough one to look right off the bat.
Yeah,
some of these odds also I don't think have been updated, but I would probably.
But that's what you're trying to take advantage of.
No, but I think some of the top 10 odds are like way off. Like some of them are like minus when they should be a plus. Anyways, regardless, I don't really like the number on Finau. I would be looking again, if you're looking at live odds, I would really be looking to get on the guys who are going out early tomorrow. Chris Kirk is still a favorite of mine. His round isn't quite, if we can get him in at even 3 under, I think that'll be a good spot for him tomorrow. He's really hitting it well. But no one else super jumping out at me at the moment.
So as the saying goes, you can't win a golf tournament in round 1, but you can certainly lose it. Anybody you're fading right now?
Like who I would fade after round 1. All the guys who didn't make the cut.
Yeah, right.
All the guys who shot over par. Yeah, let's fade those guys.
No, but like somebody who looks like they're, reasonably in contention, even if you wanted to say in contention for a top 10 or something like that, but you're looking at them and you're just like, no, like he's going to drop off even more.
There's a ton of players here that we can certainly fade. We can fade like the Kiridesh Appy Barn Rats of the world, the Zach Johnson. Those guys are, these guys haven't done anything for a while. So one hot round isn't going to change my mind too much. Lee Hodges at 6 under isn't a player I necessarily think has the upside to pull together 4 rounds right now. My boy Yager's there. Siwoo Kim is interesting. Like he plays Donald Ross courses very well, but he's kind of been up and down a little bit. So that's kind of a name to watch. Not necessarily someone I'd jump on at this point yet. Trying to think if there's anyone else. Most of my interest lies right now in just these guys who went out late because I feel like it's going to be opportunity. But there's been players like Will Zalatoris is a great example. That's a player I'm not willing to necessarily jump on. I like and try and get it in play live number. This is an easier course. Zalatoris is a player who's just really done his best work at tougher courses. You're relying on him and the worst part of his game with the putter to kind of gain you a bunch of strokes this week, which I just don't like. I didn't like him pre-event. I'm not going to jump on him in play. I think if I was jumping on a big name in play that's down there, it'd be Cantlay. So Zalatoris is someone I'd continue to fade. And then, we have guys who are already kind of, scrubbing it up, and like Max Homa. I didn't really like him pre-event anyways. So no, Zalatoris is, I guess if there's anyone I'm fading and just kind of ignoring right now, that's probably the guy like of the top players.
Moose, we've got, 15, 20 minutes left. Obviously, if anyone has any thoughts on the Rocket Mortgage tournament, we can get those in. By all means, submit your questions. But I do want to mix in some football because you know what? Normally, like in past years, in another life, if you will, Jeff, we'd be sitting here saying, Madden 23 is coming out soon. We're just a few weeks away. It's true. And obviously the gamers are excited about it, and all of you who jump in on the simulations and make lineups, you should be excited about it. We're excited about it. But training camps are underway across the NFL. Everybody is reported. Workouts have begun. There are certainly some interesting stories, some things that I want to get to, but do you have a favorite at this point? Is there something that's top of mind for you that you want to touch on first?
Like in terms of just stories or things
Yeah, in
we're
terms of
watching.
just,
I
hey,
mean,
football's back and what are you watching for?
I watch everything. I mean, I think some news that dropped today, out of Dallas is interesting. Michael Gallup says he's not going to be ready for week 1. So it's pretty much like an impossibility. So that was news people were looking at for fantasy purposes. For another, things are coming out fast. I mean, we've got, Baker Mayfield, his first practice didn't look so hot. So that's going to be something to watch. I think for betting too, actually, if you go to the player totals or the player totals, I think not player futures, but player totals.
Yep.
You can still get Baker. You could this morning anyways.
Regular season
at 3,800 passing yards. To me, this is a player who, I know everyone's like, oh yeah, like Baker's going to take the job there, but like he hasn't even locked up the starting role yet.
Well, so I was going to bring that up, and we've talked about that on the Sweat some mornings as well when talking about Carolina and him arriving. Like, I feel like I'm the only one who hasn't just assumed
it's you and me.
Starting quarterback.
Because Pierce and Reed are like, oh yeah, I'm going to take the over. Dump it off to Christian McCaffrey 15 times a game, and he's going to get there. I'm like, dude, like, how can you go over on someone they have money committed to Sam Darnold? Sam Darnold's not going anywhere. Like,
right.
If Sam Darnold somehow plays good in the preseason, the club's going to be like, oh my God, we should give this guy another chance. We have a chance to like clear our record here. So,
they just acquired him a year earlier.
And this isn't a small number either. Like Daniel Jones's prop is like 3,600. Carson Wentz is 3,500.
Yeah.
And you're getting you have to do 3,800 on Baker Mayfield.
Not a bargain.
I don't understand this one. Like I'm surprised. I'm honestly surprised this is even on the board. So I'm watching the Baker Mayfield training camp news, and I like the fact because I'm just about ready to like put some serious weight into this bet and into the under because this is just not a player that I necessarily trust. It's not that I don't think he has talent. It's just that like when you're a first overall draft pick, you don't get extended and like you do numbskull things and say weird stuff for fun. You're not someone I'm going to trust with an over when you go to a brand new team, especially when there's like an established backup who like the team is committed big money to. I think it's one of the best bets on the board to take Baker Mayfield unders. And by the way, we mentioned Daniel Jones. That's a player I would be willing to go over on. I think that the Giants are very committed to him, giving him a full shot this year with Brian Dabble. The news out of training camp there has been better. And, you just look at what Daniel Jones does. If the Giants can just keep this guy upright and give him some protection, I think he goes over 360 or 3,060, like 3,600, 50 very, very easily. So yeah, those are two players, polar opposites for me. Want the Baker under, and I really like the Daniel Jones over.
Well, let's stay with the quarterback theme. Let's and not just that, but arguably disrespected quarterbacks. And obviously Kyler Murray holds an unscheduled press conference today, talks for 11 minutes all about himself. And that, by the way I'm presenting it, I realize it may come off as a negative. It's not. He went out, he just got, a monster contract north of $200 million to make him one of the highest paid players in the NFL, ever, let alone right now, obviously, and goes out for 11 minutes to talk about himself, which he very rarely does, to his credit, because he's just tired of listening to the noise and people assuming, hey, he doesn't watch film. And he's out there, he's citing, I'm looking at it, he's citing going undefeated in high school, winning the Heisman, first in the NFL and MLB drafts, by the way, in the first round, I should say, winning offensive rookie of the year, being a 2-time Pro Bowler, the size that he is, being at 5'10", already putting him behind the 8 ball, and just how disrespected he feels by the notion that he's never watching film, that he's just, he laughed about it. He didn't only call it laughable, Jeff, but he laughed about it, saying like, on the one hand, I'm really insulted, but on the other, like, thank you. Good on you for thinking I'm so incredibly naturally gifted that I don't need to even prepare. I can just waltz out onto the field and perform at the level that I do. This guy doesn't need another chip on his shoulder, Jeff, going into this year. And obviously he's got some guys around him there in Arizona. What are your expectations for Murray right now?
Yeah, it's a weird thing, man. Like I Arizona is not a team that like I was high on or anything like that, but it's not like a Kyler thing. Like I recognize the just the upside with Kyler Murray. I mean, this is a player who had some really good deep ball metrics last year. Got injured a little bit, and the Arizona the Cardinals offense suffered a bit, but like I look at his numbers, that's not something I'm worried about. Like I think Kyler Murray's numbers are going to be fine. I'm just not sure what kind of team the Cardinals are going to be with Cliff Kingsbury. Like to me, it's really more of like a Kingsbury issue than a Kyler Murray issue. And I do like the fact, like you said, that he's got a chip on his shoulder. So no, I'm pretty bullish on Kyler too. Like I'm not. That's not a player I necessarily want to go out and fade. They maybe DeAndre Hopkins isn't there. That's fine, but he's got deep ball threats. I think he'll be fine. I don't really know what to think about the Cardinals. They're just not a team I really like necessarily with Kingsbury, but maybe this is the year they kind of put it together. So yeah, Kyler Murray, like the player, I'm kind of high on. Like you said, everyone's going to be just kind of out there making fun of him, but the player can put up some video game stats in a hurry. He's like I said, like he's shown some improvement. It's just from a team perspective, I'm not sure if like Murray and Kingsbury are the guys you want to be betting on. I think Kyler's got like I said, all the talent in the world. He'll put up numbers, but when it comes down to it, does he do some things as good as just in terms of just execution? And again, this may not even be a Kyler thing. It may be a Kingsbury thing that other teams do. I have a hard time rating them in front of the Rams or the 49ers, who I'm very high on, the San Francisco. So yeah, give me the over on the Kyler props, but like kind of, I guess, give me the under on the Arizona Cardinals, or maybe just, leave them as a team that I'm just not interested in betting. That's kind of the way I'm approaching it, but I'm open to this. Like, this is a weird situation now because we've got this contract and like you said, the chip on your shoulder. We'll see how this team goes preseason. Maybe I'll change my mind on them, but I don't know. Right now, Cardinals, I'm kind of out on. Kyler, though, I think it's fine if you're bullish on him. You should be.
Kyler Murray is a top 10 MVP candidate in the NFL in the DraftKings Sportsbook right now. He's actually tied with Jalen Hurts, which is kind of crazy to me, as well as Lamar Jackson. And it's those three at plus 2,000 at the moment, putting them all kind of tied for 10th. But Lamar, very similar situation to Kyler. Kyler got his money after are they going to sign him? Are they going to trade him? What's going to happen there in Arizona? Now Lamar, I mean, he wants his extension. He wants that new contract before the season begins. Well, we've got, a month basically until that happens. Is it going to happen?
I got no idea, man. I mean, as a Ravens fan, you should hope it happens. As like a fantasy betting thing, I mean, I don't think it's not a big deal. Like, I mean, whatever. He's going to be out there. It's not like they're trading him or something like that. At least not this year. Like, it's fine. So I think that Lamar Jackson is a player, like you mentioned him and where his odds are. I think he's a player who's kind of just getting a little bit disrespected in that regard.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's put together winning seasons. Now he's at the same price as like Kyler and Jalen Hurts, who really haven't done as much as accomplished just as much from a stat perspective or just a winning perspective as he has. Right. So yeah, I think this is kind of a good spot to jump on Jackson if you like him. I don't know. I mean, the Ravens are an interesting team. They have beefed up their secondary, but it's still with like players who are, a little bit older side as well. And I don't know. Everyone wants to blame last year on injuries for the Ravens. I'm just not sure if it's like, maybe part of it is the league finally figuring out this, like, mobile quarterback thing. We have seen that happen in the past to pass mobile quarterbacks. I think the thing with Lamar is he's still a pretty good passer. Like he's not terrible back there. He's got some really, really like strong metrics if you look at some stuff. So I think Jackson can carry that team. And if they do kind of get back to dominating teams on the ground, their defense pulls up, it could just be, like we're looking at this plus 2,000 Lamar Jackson just loud, like, wow, we can't believe this is available. So yeah, interesting player. I don't know why Baltimore wouldn't be able to get an extension done or what they're thinking, but it's like a real life thing versus a fantasy thing. You Ravens fan, yeah, you want this done. I think that the less uncertainty there is going into the season, the less kind of weirdness could be happening down the stretch where this becomes a thing. And then from a fantasy perspective, I mean, who cares? I mean, he's going to be out there. So
Jeff, part of it is, it's just your local time, and part of it is, I don't know, your body clock and nature as well. But I tend to see you most active on social media later on at night, after many, many people are in bed, maybe even including many people in your household. But with that in mind, I'm going to put you to the test to see how much you've paid attention to social media today. Do you know what today is the 6-year anniversary of?
No.
Today is the 6-year anniversary of Max Kellerman saying that Tom Brady was going to fall off a cliff in the very near future. I bring that up because Tom Brady, well, one, he quote tweeted it and responded to it and joked about now he's got a bathing suit line and whatever, having his fun. But also because Tom Brady, as we look at the DraftKings odds, he is second, just behind Josh Allen in the MVP odds at plus 800. He should have won the award last year over Aaron Rodgers. I maintained that at the time, and I still believe it now. And but I do wonder, because we have injury news out of Tampa. No, it's not Julio Jones. He's still healthy right now. Ryan Jensen, who is the starting center, the man, one of the men anyway, who is charged with keeping Tom Brady upright, carted off the field with a knee injury. Who knows? It's too early to say, but his season, may not happen. So how is this going to affect Tampa, Brady? Is this a big deal? This is still a team, obviously, that very much has Super Bowl aspirations.
To start your day in this heat?
I don't know what that is. There we go. That was stupid autoplay on the ads. Honestly, I thought it was you for a half second. What is he doing? What's he throwing?
I'm not stupid enough to do stuff like that.
No. I thought you were about to break into a commercial ad.
Oh yeah,
he's throwing his voice. This is impressive. Whatever that was.
I mean, Jensen getting hurt it's not good, right? I mean, this is a team that wants to throw the ball, project their quarterback. They don't have a mobile quarterback, so it's something to watch. And that was like a big piece of their line that they wanted to bring in. Yeah. The Bucks are. I'm not betting Tom Brady MVP. I just think that there's players behind him with like Burrow and Wilson mainly, who have similar upside and just better odds. Like, I mean, Brady, you're getting the Brady factor, right? It's like the Tiger factor. It's built in. Realistically, Tom Brady's odds really should probably be further back behind like Patrick Mahomes. That's just my opinion. Brady is still playing at an extremely high level. There's no doubt about that. But yeah, the Jensen, it's a little bit concerning. I mean, this is a team that still has to play the Saints twice a year. Very, very good D-line there. One of the best defenses in the league, quite frankly. They was two weak opponents as well, but it certainly doesn't help, going up against a team like the Saints. So it's something to keep an eye on. This is the kind of training camp news that, with the O-lineman, sometimes people just forget about, but like if a team's O-line suddenly gets decimated, like that's a good fade candidate for the start of the year, in my opinion, because that is it's just like the brick and mortar of a team, man. Like it's like the foundation. Like you have a good O-line, things just flow better. Your quarterback has more time. They throw from cleaner pockets more. They get sacked less. There's less injury chance. Like everything just flows from the O-line. And it's hopefully for the Bucks, it's not a big deal. But if it is, I mean, going to be wanting to see who they put in and shift things around and who they're starting with.
Real quick, we will get out of here in a minute, but I want to throw this out at you. This is the type of thing. If we were still doing Madden Sims, you and I, we'd spend an entire half, if not longer, on this. I'm going to ask you to do it in basically a minute. You're looking at the MVP odds on the DraftKings Sportsbook, and you just said you don't like Brady at where he is at plus 800. Ignore the numbers and just look at the order for the top. Let's call it 7 because it involves Russell Wilson, his new landing spot in Denver. Okay. So in this order, Josh Allen, Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers, Justin Herbert, Joe Burrow, Russell Wilson. That is the order of the top 7 right now. How would you, Jeff Ulrich, reorder that 7?
Okay, I definitely have Josh Allen number 1. I think he's deserving favorite. I would put Mahomes second. Mm-hmm. I would probably put Herbert and Burrow tied for third. No. Yes, I would put Burrow, Herbert third. I would put Wilson a very close fourth. Where Russell Wilson? Do I want to drop Brady behind? Yeah, I would go. You know what? Yeah, I would go Josh Allen, Mahomes, Herbert, Burrow. We'll say tied third. Wilson, Brady, and then Rodgers. Rodgers is interesting. It's not like like this is Aaron Rodgers and they can't do anything without Devontae Adams.
Yep.
I mean, part of it is Devontae Adams, but part of it is I think the Packers are going to be a good team, run the ball a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
And quite frankly, I also just think that voters will be looking for reasons not to give Aaron Rodgers a third MVP.
Oh yeah.
Award. Last year they were kind of handcuffed into it. Like the Brady kind of the Bucks just kind of dissolved a little bit down the stretch. Allen just, the numbers kind of weren't there. Like he didn't really have a great second half of the year. It was okay. Burrow was good, but like he had a slow start. Herbert was just too many interceptions. Like it was, and Mahomes had a terrible start too. Rodgers was just the guy who was steady, ended pretty fast with just some bigger games. And then it was like, okay, like it's kind of just, we got to give it to Aaron Rodgers because it's just the way he ended. So I don't know. I don't know if that scenario will break down again this year, but I think guys like Wilson, Wilson and Burrow to me are the most undervalued based on that order. And those are really the guys that I would be looking to bet at like preseason. I don't think you need to bet MVP odds preseason. I'm not sure how much of this is offering you huge value, but Burrow and Wilson are the two guys that I like from the top 7 in terms of odds right now. I almost would rank Wilson third. I just think that it's such a good landing spot. He's going to have a really clean year. I think you're going to see an Aaron Rodgers type year from Russell Wilson. And I really do think with him being 7th in the odds, he's the best value for me, especially of the top 10, 12 players.
All right, very good. We're going to put a bow on this Thursday sports edition of the Slate. It'll be a lot of baseball, maybe some golf mixed in tomorrow. Make sure you tune in for that show. LaMarca will be along, maybe Bukes if we can actually make him do some work on occasion. We'll see. Jeff Ulrich jumping in here. We always appreciate him, as well as our production crew, Eamon, Drew. Thank you both. Thank you all for watching, listening, enjoying, and placing your bets and doing all the things that you do. For Moose, I'm Adam. We'll catch you next time. Jeff, see you later, bud.
See ya.